Bi'ur Mishnah Vav. The question, explanation for Mishnah Vav. Mishnatenu, this Mishnah, בא ללמד דברים שאסרו חכמים ביום טוב בשום גזירת מקח וממכר. Over here, the sages prohibited these things to do in Yom Tov because it looks like you're dealing and willing. Yeah. Let's just get a perspective on Mishnah Vav. Yeah. On Mishnah Vav, let's just take a perspective because a lot of people are thinking modern times, and it was completely modern, not modern times at the time. So the perspective is like this. There was no refrigeration at the time. Most of the food that you bought for 3 meals. You didn't buy food for more than 3 meals or 2 meals. Yeah, for a day. Yeah, for a day, because otherwise it's going to spoil. Yeah, people, in other words, you go to the market every day. That's what people did. They went to the market every day. And remember also, when we say you go to the market, when you lived in the countryside, you didn't use money. It was, this guy had apples, this guy had chickens, this guy had meat, this guy had vegetables, and they would exchange things, you know. So now, think about what's going on. If your wife is missing something on a Yom Tov, right? She doesn't have one of the ingredients she needs to cook. What does she do? She goes to the neighbor. She asks for the ingredients. So this is how it was. The houses and the business were the same thing. If somebody has chickens in his grows chickens, the neighbors used to come, take some eggs, and leave some tomatoes. And that happened every day between them. So on a Yom Tov, let's think in this manner, the stores were open. In other words, you wanted an egg, you go to the egg guy, you get an egg. You wanted a carrot, you go to the carrot guy. Yeah, exactly. They're all around you. So what we think as buying was allowed on Yom Tov. That's what they did in Yom Tov. But it's an exchange. But they said we don't want to make it like a market day. So therefore, the sages came in with some rules. It says you can't do it the same way as you do it on a market day. You can't exchange things like the regular day, okay? That's what the Mishnah calls. Again, don't think about today. Today, everything is money. And the stores in Jewish neighborhoods are closed. In those days, all the stores were open. Because it was the neighbor. Yeah, it was the house, exactly. You just go in and out. You know, it's like one housewife said, hey, give me a cup of sugar. And the other wife said, I need a cup of flour.
Like in Israel today, you go to your neighbor and tell him,
exactly.
I need 10 eggs.
Exactly. So just have, in the next 3 things that we're going to be discussing, just have it in mind that this is the case. So like this. Now, you remember we did say that because the animal tastes better when it's shechted fresh, you're allowed to shecht a whole animal on Yom Tov, even though you have meat. No, I want fresh meat on Yom Tov. You're allowed to go on Yom Tov, even though it's a lot of work, and shecht an animal. But practically, if you shecht a cow, what are you going to do with it? A cow can be split among 20 families. You're wasting the whole money. So what would you do? So let's see. So the guy says, ooh, I want a nice cow. I want nice tongue. I want cow's tongue. So he's going to he's allowed to shecht the whole cow just for the tongue. But you're thinking, what? It's $2,000 of meat I'm wasting just for the tongue? So what do? You say, you know what? He goes to his neighbor. Remember, they're all together over there. He goes to his neighbor and says, do you want the leg? He goes to another neighbor and says, do you want this? Do you want this? We'll take care of the money after Yom Tov. Don't worry about it. But do you want this? Do you want this? So this is what he says over here. You can't do that on Yom Tov. You can, because you're going around the neighbors and it looks like what? It's like you're doing business. It says we allow you to shecht it. We didn't allow you to go around and make and sell it and do all the things. That's too much already. So like this. אין נמנים על הבהמה לכתחילה ביום טוב. You do not divide the animal on Yom Tov לכתחילה. בגמרא מבואר. So the Gemara gives an explanation. אין פוסקים דמים לכתחילה על הבהמה ביום טוב. They don't put a value on the animal In other words, they don't divide it between the families because this is $50 for the front, $30 for the back, $20 for the rear, the whatever it is. כלומר, which means, חבורת אנשים שבאה לקחת בהמה אצל הטבח ביום טוב. So again, have the concept. You have one guy who sells the animals, who raises sheep in the neighborhood. Everybody knows this is the guy. So in Yom Tov, you come to him and say, can I borrow a sheep? Like you say, can I borrow a cup of water? Can I borrow a cup of milk? Can I borrow a sheep? We'll take care of you later on. So you're allowed to go and take a sheep or a cow or whatever you want from him to bring to your house because it's food, right? It's food, you're allowed to. So it says, but usually that guy with the sheep and the animal and the cows, he's usually the butcher also. He's usually the one who shechts. So you don't tell him ביום טוב, you don't come over to him in יום טוב, and אומרים לו, תן לנו פרה זו בכך וכך דמים, כגון ב10 דנים. So 5 families cannot come to him and tell him, give us this cow for $50 a pound. You know, they're not allowed to do it. It's not allowed like in the regular day. On the regular it says this cow $50 a pound. They cannot come and tell you.
They can take it, but not saying do it in a way.
Very good. כגון ב10 דנים, ויתחייב לך כל אחד ממנו חלקו. And don't worry, according to the poundage, that's what we're going to pay you. He's going to pay you this, I'm going to pay you this, he's going to pay you that. וכן הבאים להשתתש בהמה ביום טוב, לא יפסקו דמים לומר. And also if you have an animal that you decide between your neighbors you're going to divide, you cannot divide it on יום טוב and start saying, hey, this is the price. אני אקח ממנה בשר בסלע. It says, I'm going to take the meat to $50 worth, you're going to take meat $100 worth, he's going to take meat $300 worth. ואתה בשתיים, כמפורש בברייתא בגמרא. Like the Braita says, לא יאמר אדם לחברו, a person is not allowed to test his friend, הריני עמך בסלע, הריני עמך בשתיים. He says, you shechting the animal? I'll take $10 worth, or I'll take $50 worth, or I'll take $80 worth. That becomes business already. שכל פיסוק דמים כגון זה יש בו משום מקח וממכר, שאסור ביום טוב. It says, now you're dealing and willing. It says, dealing and willing in Yom Tov, that's not allowed. But what you are allowed to do? So in other words, first of all, you're allowed to shecht only for yourself. And then you're allowed to give gifts to the other one. But don't mention how much he's going to give you. Tomorrow, he can come and finish the deal with you. Yeah, but not today. Today is not willing and dealing. Or, they were smart, they will do it beforehand. What will they do? נמנים עליה בערב יום טוב. The guys will come on ערב יום טוב, the day before יום טוב, and he says, look, tomorrow we want to shecht an animal. You guys want to come in? And then you can make all the distribution before Yom Tov. And after the fact, you do that. ושוחטין ומחלקים ביניהם. So you'll take the leg for $50, I'll take the head for $30. Then you can make the willing and dealing. But not on the Yom Tov itself. Yom Tov itself, it's not willing and dealing. You make it into a marketplace. That's what the sages were worried about. And the sage, we're going to let you shecht. We're not going to let you divide and start arguing about prices. Because that's not the Yom Tov thing. כלומר, שאם פסקו דמים על הבהמה בערב יום טוב, we're going to say, if you guys already decided on the price per pound before יום טוב, בכמה כל אחד ייקח ממנה, how much each one is going to take, רשאים לחלק את ביניהם את בשר הבהמה ביום טוב, כפי החלקים שקבעו מערב יום טוב. Then on the יום טוב itself, on the holiday itself, you're allowed to divide it the way it was decided beforehand. רש"י מפרש, but Rashi explains, even goes further. אבל שוחט הטבח בלא פיסוק דמים ומחלק אותם ביניהם. But you can go to the butcher, which means the guy who has all the animals, the sheikhet, let's call him, and he's allowed to, a lot of guys come over to him, like there's 10 guys, he looks at them, he's allowed to go, here, I'll shecht the animal, cuts it up to him, take, come tomorrow, we'll deal with it. He's allowed to do that. Yeah? In other words, he's allowed to divide it into them. He says, we're not going to argue prices right now. Come tomorrow, I'll tell you how much. וכותב בעל תפארת ישראל, and בעל תפארת ישראל writes, שנראה שלרש"י לא היה גרסת המשנה, אבל נמנים עליה בערב יום טוב. It looks like the Mishnah says that you shouldn't do it the day after. You should do it the day before. Rashi says, no, you could do it also the day after. And the guy over here said it looks like Rashi had a different Mishnah. That he didn't have the Mishnah that says that you should do it the day before. That's why Rashi allowed you to do it even after the fact, not before the fact. It looks like the Gemara, the Mishnah, only allows you to divide it before the fact, not after. Rashi allows you after. And he's asking why, and he's saying it looks like he has a different Mishnah. Okay. אלא הגרסה הייתה, so according, Rashi's Mishnah was a different Mishnah that he looked at. He looked at the Mishnah, אבל שוחטים ומחלקים ביניהם, but you allow to slaughter and divide between them. ואפשר עוד שרש"י מפרש, אבל נמנים עליה או שוחטים ומחלקים ביניהם. In other words, the answer is, you can either do it before or after, but for sure not on the day. For sure, the best way to do it is before. According to Rashi, you can also do it after. Some people disagree with Rashi. Okay. Next one. Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Now we're going to have a problem. What's going to be a problem? There's going to be a problem. It doesn't matter when you divided it. You could have divided it before or you could divide it after. You're still going to have arguments. Jews get together, there's going to be arguments. What's going to be the arguments? You're going to say, I didn't plan on this animal. Look, this animal has long legs. Even though we decided yesterday that I'm going to get the leg and you're going to get the other part. But if I knew that this is the cow we're taking, I wouldn't have agreed to the deal. Because this cow has massive legs. Look at that. Right? There's going to be arguments. Yeah? So even though you made the what do you call it? The decision who gets one part, when the time of the shechting, people are looking and measuring in their mind, per pound, how much is it? So they might start thinking, oh, let's weigh it. So that's not any problems.
But where all these things get into the place here that you have to think about this behemoth. If he didn't see it before Yom Tov and he didn't see his leg is so tall, he didn't see the behemoth. So
if you remember, we had two opinions. One opinion says you have to say this behemoth, and one of them says if you ever heard, you can say in mind any of them. Yeah, two opinions. Yeah, okay. So Rabbi Yehuda says, Shokel Adam Basar, you're allowed to weigh the meat before, but you're not allowed to weigh it by weight.
What do you mean weight by weight?
Ah, very good. What does it mean? How can you weigh not by weight? He says you're only allowed to weigh by volume. You're not allowed to weigh it by weight.
How can you weight by volume?
I guess.
Oh, well, you cut the animals, right? And you put it in a big vessel. When the vessel is full, that's when you know it. In other words, it's not going to be exact. Weighing by weight is exact. Weighing by volume, you're going to be more or less. And what did they do? They used usually, for example, there's a butcher knife. So they will measure it with the butcher knife. It's 3 butcher knives by 2 butcher knives you got. Yeah? In other words, you don't know exactly how much it is, but approximate. Why? So that you're not going to start weighing things and things. Again, it's going to look like marketplace. So yes, you're not going to have exact measurements, but that's the way in Yom Tov. Otherwise, once we start letting you have exact measurements, you're going to have, it's a wheeling and dealing again.
Fresh meat costs more.
Yeah, exactly. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, shokel adar basar biyom tov, you're allowed to weigh it, but by volume, like you said, not by weight. Keneged the kli, you're allowed to say, it says it's about, you got approximately this vessel amount of meat. Yeah? Or keneged a kufitz, or the butcher knife. You got 2 butcher knives length of meat. סכין גדולה שקוצצים בה הבשר והעצמות. This butcher knife that you cut, a cleaver I think it's called in English, that you cut with the animal. כלומר, אף על פי שאסור לשקול ביום טוב במשקולות, the sage says you're not allowed to weigh on the regular way on a Yom Tov. Don't even dare do it, because that's business already. That, you're doing it like a regular business day. We don't want it. לפי שהוא מעשה חול. You don't distinguish between Yom Tov and Chol. In other words, your mind, it has to be, we let you shecht it, but no, it's Yom Tov. Don't start willing and dealing. מכל מקום מותר לשקול כנגד הכלי או כנגד הקופיץ. So you're not allowed to weight with measurements of weights, you're allowed to measurement with measurements of volume. היינו, שנותנים את הכלי או את הקופיץ על כף אחת של המאזניים, ואת הבשר על הכף האחרת. ולאחר, so it says over here, in other words, you're not allowed to use the weight on the scale. You're allowed to put something on the scale, yeah? But not the designated weight. You have to do it in another way. I learned it the way I listened from the Gemara. I don't know if he's going to mention it. ולאחר יום טוב רואים מה משקלו של הכלי או של הקופיץ. And after יום טוב you see what the weight of the vessel that you put there. ויש מפרשים בחרון שידוע משקל הכלי או הקופיץ. There are those extent that people know the measurement of this thing. Okay. וחכמים אומרים, that's according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, you are kind of allowed to use the weight. You're allowed to use the scale. But we're going to say that's on the halacha. Chachamim are going to say, Chachamim אומרים, אין משגיחים בכף מאזניים כל עיקר. It says, when it says to use the kofitz, to use the thing, it doesn't mean to use it as a weight and then measure it afterwards. You're not allowed to use weights at all, in any ways. כלומר, אין משתמשים כלל בכף מאזניים. That's what I remember from the Gemara. See, I didn't remember Rav Yehuda, I only remember the Chachamim. אין משתמשים כלל בכף מאזניים ביום טוב. You don't use at all a weight on יום טוב. ומבואר בגמרא שנקטו חכמים בשלום כל עיקר, and he says it's at all, להשמיענו, it says, you know what you're not even allowed to? You have a scale with the buckets, and now you chop. You're not even allowed to take the meat and put it over there because you don't want the rats to get to the meat. In other words, you're not weighing it. You're just storing it over there. Even that, the sages not allow you. It says you're not allowed to touch a scale. Not allowed to. In other words, you want to measure with volume. Like I said, don't measure with scale. להשמיענו שאפילו ליתן בשר במאזניים כדי לשמור מן העכברים אסור. מפני, why you're not allowed to even use it as a storage place? מפני שנראה כשוקל בהם, because it looks like you're weighing. וההלכה כחכמים, and the halacha is like חכמים, you can measure by volume, you can measure by things like that, but to use the scale in any manner, forget about it. You're not allowed to weigh it all, so you're not going to know exactly. Why? Once we let you use the scale, there's no differentiation between Yom Tov and Chol, and we want to have a differentiation between Yom Tov and Chol. Again, you remember the mindset. They used to Yom Tov, it was exactly the same buying and processing as a Yom Chol, because you're just borrowing stuff. It's not our mindset. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
No, it's everything.
Exactly.